How's it going, guys? I have some very special news for you. Recently, I was given the opportunity to have a quick discussion with Elvarels about porting Baldur's Gate 3 to Mac. I hope you enjoy the video. Alrighty, so here we are with Eugene. It's great to have you here. What is your role within Elvarels?
Yeah, hi Stu. I'm Baldur's Gate 3 lead on macOS platform, and we in Elreus developing Baldur's Gate 3 on macOS.
The reason why I've invited you here is usually I like to do a tech review of Mac ports, but I thought to change it up a bit, it'd be cool to actually invite a developer into one of these videos to give some insights into, working on their own Mac port and the tech behind it. And it's really good to have you here. I'm really, really excited. I've never had this opportunity before. So my first question is, for Baldur's Gate 3, are you using Metal 3 or a different Metal API?
Baldur's Gate 3 on Mac runs under Metal 2.1. In fact, it's been Metal 2.1 since Baldur's Gate 3 launched. We're early access. So we're using Metal 2.1 because we want to support macOS Catalina and Plus on Intel Macs. Also, we want to support macOS Monterey on Apple Silicon Macs. And also, we want to support AMD graphic card. We actually made a prototype running on Metal 3. It's a different, and we need to benchmark it and understand how it can be released, if possible at all. Definitely post-release work.
What Intel Macs are supported for Baldur's Gate 3? Because I believe this has changed from early access.
Any AMD Intel Macs with 8 gigabytes memory are support.
Okay, so what version of Xcode was used for Baldur's Gate 3 on Mac?
We used Xcode 12.3, it's the main build system. Also, we're using Xcode 14 for prototyping and development. In the middle of the project, we completely switched to developing on an Apple Silicon.
Do Elvarels have any plans to add metal effects into the game in the future?
Yeah, the game was Metal FX capable at this point. Due to several technical challenges, Metal FX didn't make it up to release. They definitely plan to restore it later. AMD FSR 1.0 is available now, same as Windows, and this is very cool.
So I know a lot of multiplayer games that come to Mac don't have cross-save or cross-play with other platforms, and Baldur's Gate 3 has this, which is great. I was wondering, was it difficult to add cross-save or cross-play into the Mac version?
The main difficult was writing the network code. Also need to maintain same data on Windows and Mac. Crossplay with console is only planned for later because Laden still have to do stuff for it, but crossplay with PC and Mac should work, and also cross save has to be capability. Compa- Compatible.
I'm trying to think if there's another word you could use.
No, compatible. Also, cross save has to be compatible. Oh my god, well, sorry. Compatible. Ah, also cross save has to be compatible.
Yay! So I've seen a lot of people online or on Reddit especially have issues with the game wanting to verify when you first launch it, and it takes quite a long time. Do you have any understanding of why this occurs?
Oh, I think it is a Mac problem because we run Baldur's Gate on a lot of Mac and we don't have the same problem. But also Baldur's Gate 3 have a lot of gigabyte, and this is very big task for verification of code sign. I think this is main problem.
Now, in early access, the game had issues on M1 and M2 Max with only 8 GB of RAM. And this was because the game required 10 GB of memory. I was wondering if in the final release now, is the game officially supported on these machines with only 8 GB of RAM?
This is one of the developer goal. We will improve the performance over time. At the end, we plan to target less than 8 gigabyte of memory usage.
Now, one of the less used gaming features on MacBook Pros is touch bar support. And I remember that Divinity Original Sin 2 had touch bar support and it was really cool. Do you have any plans to add touch bar support into Baldur's Gate 3 in the future for Macs that support it?
Not in the release version. Touch bar support will depend on user activity and request. The code is there, we just need to adjust it for Baldur's Gate 3.
So I was very happy to see that Baldur's Gate 3 supports controllers on Mac, but I did notice that the game doesn't support controller rumble. Is this something that will come in the future?
There's no rumbling support in the release version. Control rumble request migrating audio framework to the latest version. This is out of our control and users should ping Larian for this.
With Apple adding the Performance HUD fairly recently, I was wondering, did Elverels use the HUD for QA benchmarking, or did you use any other means of benchmarking the game on Mac?
This game has automatic testing metrics were collected by the system. For quick development checks, we definitely use Meta Performance HUD. Also, QA are using Meta Performance HUD for Steam final release build.
Okay, so do you know how many Macs you benchmarked Baldur's Gate 3 on?
Hard to say, but it was the most extensive test possible with all the possible max combinations.
Alrighty, so how many people within Elverels worked on Baldur's Gate 3 for Mac?
Over time, 10 people, right now 4. Team size changed over time and we're working alongside Larian most of the time.
Do you have any plans to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to the Mac App Store?
Never say never, but at this time the markup store needs some internal tweaks to handle 100 gigabyte plus packages.
I've had this question a lot. Do you have any plans to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to iPhone 15 Pro or the M series iPad? Or is that a very unrealistic expectation?
I have an NDA, so I can't say.
Fair enough. Are any Windows features not supported or ported over to Mac?
Or, yeah, rumbling, haptic feedback, and Razer keyboard lights. Everything else is there.
Cool. What were the biggest challenges with bringing this game to Mac and with using the Divinity 4.0 engine?
No major challenges. We've been working with Larian for so long that everything is fine. The biggest challenge is ever changing code. It's very hard to work in parallel.
What things did you improve with the Mac port over early access?
A lot, especially with ARM code, we've been working with Apple Silicon since release, and we also used a lot of experience from other ports to improve the game.
What video settings have the biggest performance impact on Mac or should be disabled by the user?
I think the biggest performance effect is the slides and shadows. Shadows use a lot of memory.
Just some quick notes after this interview took place. Elvarels and myself thought of some more things to add. VSync off on M1 and M2 Max provides worse performance. Use a 30 FPS cap and triple buffering VSync for better performance. AMD FSR is disabled by default on M1 and M2 Max. Make sure to keep it off. TAA or SMAA anti-aliasing is a better option as it provides better picture quality at a lower resolution. And can you provide a list of recommended settings for each Apple Silicon Mac?
Yeah. Larian Studios have applied different default settings to different Apple Silicon chips that provide the best performance.
Just want to quickly add something here that we thought of after this interview took place. If you're not happy with the default settings that Larian have applied, here are some rough, and I want to say rough, recommended settings that we have put together for all of you for each Apple Silicon chip. Here we have Apple M1, Apple M2, Apple M1 Pro, Apple M2 Pro, Apple M1 Max, Apple M2 Max, and Apple M2 Ultra and Apple M1 Ultra. Okay, so that's it. I want to say a big thank you to Eugene for joining us today and talking about the Mac version of Baldur's Gate 3. I've never had this opportunity before, so it's been really exciting talking to you, and yeah. Is there anything that you want to add?
Oh, I just want to say thanks all Mac community and used to, because I think Mac community is best in internet, very friendly, and I also reading Reddit about Baldur's Gate 3 problem, and I try to fix every problem from Reddit, and maybe someone also have my comment.
And we want to thank you guys too, because you've brought us excellent ports, and we're really excited for what you guys do in the future with Mac gaming. And yeah, just thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you guys.